I went in and one went between my legs and I was like, get me out of here.
Even NCL have like gone, yeah, I think we need to up our game just because I think Royal started the arms race before they were all kind of like natural beaches with a couple of sun lounges and a bar, and then Royal came out with Perfect Day, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh crap, okay, we need to actually do something now.
Yeah, I don't do it for that, I do it for winning, but like
do it for bragging rights.
yeah. For just looking at everyone and going, see, I told you I was going to win there.
Hello everybody and welcome to the latest episode of Magically Cruising, the cruise and travel podcast where we share our personal cruise tips and reviews to help you make the most out of your next holiday. My name's Kieran, an independent travel agent specialising in all things cruise, Disney and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I write all things cruise and family travel over at Mini Travellers.
And today, Sarah, we're going to talk about something we haven't talked about in a while. I can't remember the last time we did this because it's been a while since I've been back on board. But I was recently on board Virgin Voyages in the Caribbean. So we're going to have a bit of a chat about what it's like to sail with Virgin in the Caribbean.
Yep. God, what is it since I've been in the Caribbean?
It was, wasn't it?
Too long. Yeah, too long. So I'm excited to hear about your trip and where you went and which ship was it you sailed on?
Well, we've done Resilient Lady, but I think you've done more Caribbean sailing than I have, haven't you? Because I think this is technically my third, but I've done the same itinerary technically twice, which I guess we can go on to in a bit. But you've done a lot more Caribbean sailing than I have, haven't you?
No, I don't think I've done about 4 or 5.
Okay.
So not loads, but we have done a few different itineraries, which has been really nice.
Yeah, so I was on board Resilient Lady, which I shouldn't have a favourite, and she's become my favourite over time just because I think the entertainment offering on board Resilient Lady is a bit different than the rest of the fleet. I am about to join Brilliant Lady literally next week in Alaska, and she has all new entertainment again, so it could all change by the end of next week. But I just love kind of how they've refreshed what Virgin Voyages were doing at the time they launched Resilient Lady, so I do love all the shows on board. But again, it was just really great to do her in the Caribbean because the last time I was on her, it was actually the English Channel I sailed with Resilient Lady.
So I've got 2 questions actually before we start. Why is the ship, if you're watching a video, at an angle?
That's me.
Looks like it's sinking. Is that just your artistic photography?
It is. And people tell me off all the time. They're like, why do you always take pictures of everything on the wonk? And I'm like, it looks good. I like the way it looks.
Right. So the ship isn't sinking. That's good.
No.
That's the first thing over. And the secondly is, as a non-Virgin cruiser, how many ships have they got and what order did they come in? Just so that anybody that's listening like me that doesn't know the brand can understand.
Yeah, so Virgin Voyages have 4 ships that they call the Lady ships. That's kind of the unofficial designation for all 4 of the ships. They're all the same class of ship. So you've got Scarlet Lady, the OG. Then you've got Valiant Lady, Resilient Lady, and Brilliant Lady. So they all pretty much identical, to be honest, in layout on board. Just to have like the core central roundabout, which works as the atrium on board and the heart of the ship. You're going to find the 6 main eateries on board. You're going to find spaces like the social, the manor, which is the nightclub, the red room, which is kind of the main theatre. You're going to find those spaces on all 4 of the ships. The biggest difference with Virgin across the fleet now, and they're kind of dry docking the ships over time now, because they've been sailing for, well, technically 5 years. So they are kind of changing things up a little bit. So each one of the ships now has at least one unique eatery as of the end of this month, actually. Valiant Lady goes in to have her dry dock, and she's getting a new eatery in space of Razzle Dazzle, which is going to have a new Indian restaurant. So all 4 ships now will have one unique restaurant to that ship. But on the whole, once you get on board a Virgin Voyages ship, you kind of know the layout, you know the flow and the vibe of them. It'll be entertainment where it's really different. They've all got different headline shows and different kind of happenings and events across the fleet. But yeah, the core experience is the same regardless of which ship you're on.
And you went on Resilient
Lady, yeah, which is the third ship.
Third, right, okay. And can you tell us all about the itinerary you took?
Yeah, so we did the Western Caribbean sailing. They've renamed all their itineraries now. They used to have really fun, quirky names, and now they're all kind of like Western Caribbean and Bimini. So we did Grand Cayman. We did Ocho Rios in Jamaica, and then we had a stop off at Bimini as well to visit Bimini Beach Club, their private beach club.
Just get my head around it. So Grand Cayman, is that where you did the sting? Did you go swimming with the stingrays?
We were supposed to go swim in with the stingrays, and we didn't go swimming with the stingrays because the weather was the waves were too choppy. But yes, that's where we would have gone swimming with the stingrays.
Yeah, we did that there when the kids were little. It was an experience I never want to do again.
Really? Why not? Tell me your story then.
It was the week after Steve Irwin died.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Jack wanted to do it. I mean, this is how long ago. It was his 10th birthday, so he's 25 now. And we did. But I thought you just go to a beach and there they are. But oh no,
Yeah,
they're in the sea, aren't they? Really
yeah.
deep on this little boat. And I went in and one went between my legs and I was like, "Get me out of here! Get me out of here!" Jack refused to get out of the boat, so Chris is there bobbing
Really?
along with all the stingrays. He loved it, but yeah, I hated it. But
Well,
I
it
think
came up
once you
actually.
know that they can kill you, and obviously before I wouldn't have even thought about it. But once I with Steve Irwin, it was Steve Irwin, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought no, forget that.
So it actually came up on our catamaran, and the woman said, she was like, no, not being funny. She said, we get asked every single time we run this excursion, because obviously it is a fear now that people have, is our stingrays going around. She said, I can count on one hand the number of times people have been killed by a stingray barb in the world. She said it is rare. So she explained it. They are barbs, they're not stingers. So it is like an actual like prong. And she said, like, you have to be trying to get stabbed by one. She said not to like speak ill of Steve Irwin. Obviously what happened was awful. She said, but he was kind of known for putting himself in situations that the average person wouldn't, is the politest way she could have put it. She said, so when you look at the science of how the stinger works on the back of the tail, it is a stinger like a pronger rather than like a bee sting type of thing. It doesn't just stab you, it has to like penetrate you. She said, so it was down to a unique circumstance of how he was interacting with the stingray, the position he was in and how he moved. That stingray backed into him and he pushed into the stingray. So it was one of those like two things that really happening at the same time that caused it to happen to him. But she said, generally, she said she's been doing that excursion for 20 plus years and she's never, ever, ever been stung by a stingray and knows nobody who's ever been stung by a stingray. She said it is incredibly uncommon.
Do you know what I really didn't like when I was in there, and I was not in there very long, is that they suck you on. I was like,
Yeah,
get it off me! And you
that's
can't,
freaked me out.
and you daren't touch it. It's like,
Yeah.
get it off! So that was it. I was out.
Yeah. So this trip was hosted. So I won this trip with Virgin Voyages. So as one of kind of the headline accounts in the UK, at least anyway, where they call it a red hot account. So they do an incentive every wave season, the beginning of the year, and they pick people out of that who've made bookings to win the trip. So I was very lucky again to win this trip. So they picked the shore things, or as Virgin call excursions, shore things. So I don't think either of the shore things I did are things I would have naturally have picked, because I'm not very much of a playing about in water person, but I loved both of them and I actually appreciated doing them because it's something that I probably wouldn't have done. It made them a little bit more exciting because it was like, oh, I'm doing something I wouldn't normally get to do. So the stingray one, yeah, in our case, we got out on a catamaran in Grand Cayman. And she did say to us at the front, and we had a bit of a sneaky feeling that we were going to get cancelled anyway, but we got to where this kind of stingray dive point is, and she explained the history of why these stingrays go there. She said it's basically fishermen used to frequent the area all the time. They had their same fishing patch, which is kind of on the top of a reef, so that there's a drop off further away, but you're in the shallow part, basically. And she said they used to fish all the time and throw their chum into the water, and the stingray learned that, and they used to go there basically to clean up what was left over, basically. So then she said it's just this one family. She said there are hundreds of stingrays in the area, but it's just this one like collection of them who have learned over time to go here. So they go there by their own volition. It's not like they force them to or they like lure them in. They just like to go here because they know they can get fed. She said, but there are loads of other stingrays who don't come anywhere near it. She said they just have different feeding grounds. But unfortunately, the weather was too choppy for us. The waves were a lot higher, so it wasn't safe for us to go in. So we went to Starfish Point Beach instead. So we just went a little bit further on, basically, and stopped off on a little beachfront. And then there were some starfish in the water, and it was just nice to kind of paddle around for a little bit.
I'd quite like that, seeing the starfish.
It was nice. I enjoyed it. It wasn't what I was disappointed we didn't see the stingrays because that's what we were going for. But it wasn't a bad plan B type of thing to go out on a catamaran for an hour. I think it was an hour each way roughly, and then to have about 40 minutes. I think it was something like that on the beach. It was just quite nice, just something different. I wouldn't have normally
beach
done
as well. I mean, we're not talking Blackpool, are we?
Do you get what I mean? Like crystal clear waters, golden sand type of thing, and it was just nice to like plod around. And some people went off and explored into the island itself around the nature reserve, but I stayed in the water because I was like, no, I really get to paddle about in water in the sun, especially because Phil will not do things like that. It's just not his cup of tea.
No, I'm not a beach person, as you know. But so what about Ocho Rios? Did you stop at? Did you say? And what did you,
Ocho Rios.
I love it. I love it there. So what did you do there?
Yeah, so we went before on our honeymoon, and like my grandfather's Jamaican, so I've got like a connection to Jamaica, but I've never really felt comfortable being gay to go off and self-explore in Jamaica. And I've always been told, like, as long as you're in a resort or as long as you're doing an excursion, you're not going to get bothered. Nobody's going to know. And if you're also not outwardly promoting that you're gay, nobody's going to bat an eyelid. I was wearing the most flamboyant pair of shorts. They are just my beach shorts. And for how often I go to a beach, I have one pair of beach shorts. It's just because you usually get to wear them one time on a cruise.
Mm.
So I was getting nicknamed like, oh, what was he calling me? Like loud shorts or colourful shorts? Something like that was my nickname from the guys who were like guiding us over for the day. But we got to do the White River rafting or tubing. And then we also got to do the White River waterfalls at the end of it as well, which is like the go-to excursion in Jamaica. Like Dunn's River Falls is very much that experience type of thing. Like I think it's
Mm.
the one to do. Again, would never have booked this in a million years because the idea of jumping into waterfalls does not appeal to me in the slightest.
No.
But when put in that situation, I thoroughly loved it.
Yeah, we did that in St Lucia. We went to the waterfalls, that swimming in the mud, and like you say, I probably wouldn't have booked it, but I loved it. And I think
Mm,
sometimes that's the good thing, to go out of your comfort zone and do stuff
yeah.
you wouldn't ordinarily do.
Yeah. And to mix it up as well. Like I loved the tubing was probably the highlight for me as much as I got over a few fears because I've got a massive fear of heights, but the tubing was lovely. Like there was obviously we're together 15 of us I think from the UK on the fam trip together, and we were with a few other guests as well, and you kind of just get loose. It was about a 50-minute journey in a giant
Mm.
inflatable tube down the river. Our guides were singing like reggae songs. They were singing like joke reggae songs that were a little
Mm.
bit inappropriate to be repeated like on a podcast type of thing. But they had us in stitches. They were playing like splashing us, just playing, interacting with us in a fun way type of thing. It was all very much like fun. It wasn't inappropriate or anything. As you're sailing down the river, you could technically buy rum punch if you wanted to, or buy a beer from the local sellers. It was a bit surreal, but it was a nice mixture of really relaxing, really fun because we were kind of bonding together as a group, but also with our guides as well, kind of interacting with us. But then there were a couple of rapids that you go down as well. We're talking like really small. We're talking like,
Yeah.
theme park rapids. But it was really fun to all of a sudden have these little fast bits where you get a bit splashed and everything. Just beautiful going through the Jamaican countryside, through the tropical forest. I was like, oh, this is just, I could do this again and again and again. It was beautiful.
So they don't have crocodiles and alligators then?
No, apparently. So we all asked this because we were
Yeah.
we were all floating into the shrubs type
Before
of thing, and all.
I go in there, yeah.
There's a couple of really funny videos I've got of other people on the fab trip who get stuck in bushes, and all of us were terrified of the spiders because there's just spiders hanging everywhere on the edge of the river. So like, all of us are trying to get back into the river, and he said, like, no, he said generally there's nothing poisonous or dangerous in any of the countryside in Jamaica. He said it's one of the safest like natures in the area. There's no poisonous spiders, no snakes, nothing. I was like, oh, cool,
Yeah.
okay, great. Still don't want a spider on me though. Like, let's not go
No.
into the spider webs. But yeah, nothing to worry about in the water.
Oh, it's amazing. So was that like quite a long tour? So if you go on Virgin, you can book that tour?
Yeah, you can book it anywhere. Like I think the local company, what was the name? I forgot it is. There's a picture of me on Facebook with my legs wide in the air, and the name of
Oh,
the
yeah.
tour company.
Saw that.
The name of the tour company is on that picture. I think Tucker Tours, Pucker Tours, something like that. I forgot what they were, but they're like the main tour company in Ocho Rios anyway. But this is obviously booked as a Virgin Voyages shore thing. The benefit of it being, and actually, this is one thing that I know I'm quite vocal about, like, don't always book your excursions with the cruise line, but we were delayed on our cruise. So there was a medical emergency as we were leaving Miami. So the ship actually turned around in the middle of the night and went back to Miami to heli-lift somebody off the ship, which meant we had to change our schedule. We were meant to go to Jamaica, then have a sea day. They flipped that around. We had an extra sea day and then Jamaica. But because we were booked on a shore thing, it was automatically rebooked for the next day. There was nothing for us to do. Like literally, we just got a text message within about an hour of it being announced we were skipping the port, and it was all rebooked for the next day without any problems.
And that is brilliant because, I mean, we've got one tour next week in Turkey, and I think the cancellation is 24 hours
Yep,
or 12 hours, but you've got to make sure you get cancellation, haven't you? Because,
yep.
I mean, I've got one Rome thing booked that I couldn't cancel, but I thought, well, we're going to be there anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But when you're stopping in a cruise ship, you need to know you can cancel that tour.
It is definitely a perk of booking it like with the cruise line. You know,
Mm.
when we go to Alaska, we had the money anyway via something we've done. But all of our excursions, we book them for the ship as well, just because the prices actually with Virgin weren't terrible. When I researched like how much the things would be to book them independently, at the time we added them on, we added them the day excursions went on. The prices annoyingly have gone up now that I'm looking at maybe tweaking a few things. But their excursions weren't unreasonably priced. We're not talking like silly money. We're talking like, oh, actually, it's like you could tell there's a premium, but it's like 10% premium. It's not like a huge one. So I was like, I'll just pay Virgin. It's done then. Obviously, mileage may vary by cruise line, but Virgin Shore things haven't been much more than doing it yourself independently.
Yeah, yeah. And that just makes such a big difference, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So what else did you do? So how many days was the cruise?
So it was a 7-night voyage. So I
Right.
think we must have had 3 sea days then. 3 ports, 3 sea days, or
That's
4 sea
lovely.
days. Sounds like a lot actually, but I don't remember being at sea that much. But yeah, sounds like we had, I think it must be 3 and 3. I don't know where the extra day went. I can't remember. Like, did we have 4 sea days? Don't remember being on the ship that much. And then obviously the last day we did Bimini Beach Club then as well.
Right, okay. And did you just went to the beach club?
Yeah, so we were given VIP access on this sailing as well, which basically gives you suite level access, rock star access. So that was a really nice perk. We weren't in a suite, but we had access to suite areas and suite features. So when we went to Bimini, they do have a rock star area that is only for suite guests. And to be fair, it's nothing to shout about. It's not like as if you're in this amazing ultra luxe area. But what's nice about it is it's a slightly private area with a rock star only beachfront. So you're not going to be fighting for sun loungers. That said, however, I don't see how people would struggle to find a sun lounger in Bimini. You may struggle to find one in an area you want. I'm not going to deny that. If you want to be on the pool front, or if you want to be like beachfront, absolutely, because there's obviously less of them than there are. But I was walking around just watching other people, and like there were loads of sunbeds available, just not in the main areas type of thing. But
Right.
it was nice just to have that. And again, to have kind of our own dedicated bar. We could order food rather than having to go get our own food if we wanted to. It was just nice to have that slightly elevated service.
And because Virgin owns it, the food's included, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your bar tab follows you from ship to shore. So any bar tab you've got, you can spend in Bimini. Bimini is partly owned by Virgin Voyages. It's one of those weird things. It's owned by Resorts World and Virgin Voyages. So whenever there's a Virgin Voyages ship in port, only Virgin Voyages guests can go into Bimini. And then whenever there's not a Virgin Voyages ship in, you can pay for a day pass to Bimini Beach Club if you wanted to. But then obviously it's a very different service. I don't know the full service, but I believe like drinks are chargeable in that case, food's chargeable, all that type of stuff. Whereas when Virgin's in, they bring on the ship crew to cater. They put on a really lovely like carrot or Bohemian curries and rum cake. Oh, the food's incredible. Like Virgin's food's amazing anyway, but they do their own special menu for Bimini as well, and it's definitely worth it just to go off and try the food.
I think when we were on Celebrity, I'm sure you could buy a package where it was all included. I'm sure you could.
Probably. I wouldn't be
But
surprised if it is available, but yeah, I've never done it without Virgin.
but it seemed like the whole ship was getting off to go on, so we thought, right, if you're all getting off, we're having the pool to ourselves. So we did
Yeah.
that because I don't like beaches. So that was really nice anyway. But yeah, it's obviously a great option, and I actually am quite curious to get off and try Bimini.
Yeah.
On its
Bimini
Caribbean
as an
cruise.
island is there's a lot to do. So you've got the Resort World Casino. So and like people from the mainland. So when we went there, it was like obviously spring break season adjacent, and there were people who were staying in Resorts World who were trying to sneak into Bimini Beach Club on the day. But you've got Resorts World there. There's all loads of like villas you can rent and do that. You can get a buggy and go off. Like a load of people were going off and getting buggies to go off and explore the island. Like there is other stuff. It is an island in itself, and it has its own attractions, fishing. There's other excursions you can do. Just obviously, like every cruise line now in the Caribbean, they all want their own private beach clubs or private pools or private islands. So this is Virgin's way of doing the private island experience. I definitely think it's one of my favorites. People keep asking me all the time what is my favorite, and it's so hard for me to say whether or not I think Perfect Day Coco Cay, Disney's Castaway Cay, or Bimini, like they're all good for different reasons. They all offer something a little bit different, but like I would happily pick an itinerary that has the private island experience in it, because I think they're just so great to have that kind of curated experience and just to kind of go, oh, it's a nice beach day without feeling pressured or stressed out.
Yeah, see, obviously I've not done it yet, but then I've done it once and it didn't really like it.
You
But
did
then that
NCLs,
was,
didn't you?
yeah, NCL. But you could see Perfect Day. I just felt annoyed. So I'm here on this rubbish island, and look at that over there. So, and it was packed. There was 2 ships
Yeah.
in. You couldn't get a drink. So I literally got on, walked on the sand, went to sit on the sunbed. The bloke was like, "No, you can't have that one." What do you mean I can't have that one? It's
Really?
empty. Yeah, and he was like, "No, and you have to go and book it and reserve." And it was like,
Oh.
do you know what? I'll just get back on the ship. And we did, and the ship
Yeah.
was dead, and it was glorious. But I just felt annoyed that I could see Perfect Day.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think the NCL have invested a small fortune into their island now,
yes,
so I think it now does come close to competing with Perfect Day Coco Cay. So they've now got like or if it's not open now, it's opening this year anyway. They're building a pier now as well, so they don't have to tender onto the island. So even NCL have like gone, yeah, I think we need to up our game just because I think Royal started the arms race.
mm,
Before they were all kind of like natural beaches with a couple of
yeah,
sun lounges and a bar, and then Royal came out with Perfect Day, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh crap, okay, we need to actually do something now and put on
yeah,
more than just a beach. So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great that they've kind of made the others kind of go, oh, what
yeah.
can we do to improve this?
And I'd definitely cruise with NCL again because I loved Encore. I mean, I went to see
Mm.
Choir Man last night, and Choir Man is the resident show on
Yeah.
Encore. And I felt like I was on a cruise ship again, but
Did you?
without the rocking, which I quite missed.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get on one again
Mm.
after yesterday because it just brought back all that feeling of everything you love about being on a
Yeah.
ship.
It is. I forgot how much I loved it. Like I've been cruising quite a lot lately, but I haven't cruised with Virgin for a while. And it was really lovely to get back on board and just remember like, oh, this is why I love them, like what makes them a little bit different and what
Mm,
ticks my boxes at least anyway with Virgin. So yeah, it was nice to get back on and like you say, see some familiar kind of experiences, shows, entertainment, and
mm.
just feel like I'm back on VV again. And now I've gone and booked another one. So we're going again in August and we're going to Alaska next month, which was originally our Virgin Cruise of the Year was going to be Alaska. But now we're like, let's add in another one again.
So tell me about the ship because you said Virgin as a brand is evolving.
It feels like it to me, type of thing. Like I've been sailing with Virgin pretty much since year one, since they've been sailing, and obviously they launched. They got some things wrong. They kept
Mm,
getting things wrong, and they changed things. Like the core Virgin Voyages experience, what makes them unique is definitely still there, type of thing. You're still going to have the 6 main eateries, so there's no main dining room, there's no buffet, type of thing. But what they've done is they've just started, I think, to kind of scale back in so that they kind of cater to season cruisers better than they were before. I think they were antagonizing season cruisers.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas now I think they've kind of gone like, well, so the prime example then is a small thing, but the galley, the buffet experience, used to have something like 9 different stations you could go to, and you had to do table service. You couldn't go up to a counter to order. Now what they've done is they've introduced a hybrid system. You can either use the table service cards to kind of say you're ready to order and somebody will take your order and bring your food over, or you can actually now go up to the counter and wait in line if you wanted to, just because season cruisers were just used to that and they were just standing in line. And I think they preferred the agency of I'm ordering what I want and I can go there and
mm,
do it. So it's like a minor change, but it actually eases some of the pressure on the galley as well then, because there are technically 2 service lines. There's those who are willing to wait and sit down versus those who are willing to kind of wait in
mm,
line and get their food and go type of thing. So that's another small change. Gratuities is a big one. Obviously, gratuity culture in America is what it is. But gratuities are no longer included in the cruise fare. They're now a separate line item, and you can choose how you want to pay your gratuity, whether you want to prepay them, pay them on board, or pay in person now. So they've kind of brought in that, which hasn't gone down well with those people who fell in love with Virgin originally, but it has changed the nature of how kind of the price looks when you're booking your cruise, but also then the experience on board. You are going to find a bit more of a tipping culture evolving, depending on like there's an overlap period. There's still some people who were booked on the
yeah.
original fares where grats are included. So it's kind of catering to that American culture where they're used to the tipping culture and that behavior. And I'm hearing different stories depending on the sailing about kind of what the experience is like on board, sorry, about whether you're getting treated better or not because you're tipping in person versus auto Greek gratin type of thing.
So
The other
have
one is
they
what?
added that on top? Have they taken that off the price, or have they
Mm.
just added that on top as a cost saving thing?
Oh, it's one of those cruise myths that you're never going to get to the bottom of. The official communication line that I'm supposed to be saying is no, they haven't added it on as an extra cost on top of the already existing price. They've split it out so you can actually see it now. From a booking point of view, when we book in the agent system, we could see that gratuities were automatically added onto the booking anyway, but we never saw a price next to it. We just saw it as a bolt on. So I kind of knew the potential was there all along for them to do this anyway. What didn't help as well is they've changed their fares now. So they've introduced 3 different fares. So that's why it's now harder than ever to kind of go, oh no, they've separated out. The price is the same. Gratuities are now a separate item. There's also a case of the price has gone up because they've been sailing more now. They're more confident in their product as well. So like technically, no,
Mm,
they haven't put the price up because they've added the gratuities on top of the previous fare. But there are examples you could probably look up at the system and go, well, no, it is actually now more expensive because the base price is this, and then gratuities are an optional cost on top. And then you add in the fact they've introduced these 3 different pricing tiers when you book your cruise as well.
So what are the pricing tiers?
Confusing. I hate them personally. I've got a cheat sheet on my desktop because even I struggle to remember everything about them. They introduced it and they call it voyage fare. I've got used to it. It doesn't faze me as much. But they've introduced base fare, essential fare, and premium fare. The key difference is going to be price point. And it's basically the best way to look at it is if you book base fare, you're booking guaranteed fare. That's the best way to look at it ultimately.
Right.
So Virgin will choose where your cabin's going to be. You can't change it. That's it, type of thing. The biggest difference with that one is, however, the Wi-Fi that's included is basic, so it's just suitable for messaging, WhatsApp, things like that, and basic Facebook. And you're going to be able to make your dining reservations at 15 days beforehand, but you can't amend or change or cancel that particular booking. So it's kind of guaranteed fare is the best way to look at it. Essential fare is the equivalent to what we used to have. That's the best way I can explain to people. There are a few changes on that one whereby you can't change both sailors for free, whereas before you could. You could completely sell your booking onto somebody else, whereas now you can change the second person, not the lead passenger. That's the only thing we've lost. Everything else is exactly as it was on the old Virgin Voyages fare. They then introduced premium fare then, which is kind of like a little bit more elevated. You get premium Wi-Fi included as standard, and you get 2 devices per sailor rather than 1, which you get on the classic fare. You get to pick dining at 60 days. So you get a 15-day head start on dining over people on the other fare type. And you can change both sailors and you can change dates for free as well on that one.
Right. Okay.
Oh, and you get a bar tab. So you get a $15 per person per day bar tab on top of that one as well.
Right. So that's like a cocktail day, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. It's not massive. So for people like me, I never book premium personally because I'm in the loyalty club and I'm in the top level of it now, which isn't hard. It's 5 sailings, so it's not like it's hard to do. But a lot of those perks, the only one that we don't get is the 60 days dining. We get 45 days, but we get $100 bar tab each for the sailing anyway, regardless of the voyage length, and we get premium Wi-Fi by standard anyway. So the 2 main perks out of that you're going to want, we get already anyway because we're in the loyalty club.
Right. So tell me about your actual sailing then, because obviously we've talked about the land, we've talked about, but tell me about the sailing.
Yeah, I loved
ship.
it. Like we've talked a lot about resilience because I think it's the ship I've been on the most. And like I say, I don't have a favorite because they all offer something unique and different. But I generally love resilience. I think the entertainment was definitely more in line with what I think Virgin Voyages were trying to do, to try and create that kind of little bit thought-provoking, kind of challenging experience. They kind of toned it back so it wasn't bonkers. It makes a bit more sense on its type of thing. So a prime example of that is the headline show Persephone, which is a tale of Persephone, the Greek god. Made perfect sense for year 1 because she sailed originally around the Greek Isles. So it was just lovely to have like this show about the Greek gods fighting each other and battling over Persephone and Hades in the manor. So it's very much a standing show. You stand around in the Red Room, which is the theatre on board, and they kind of perform on different stages all around you. Really immersive. It's beautiful. It's really funny. It's camp. It's cheeky. I love it. So that's the headline show on board Resilient Lady. I believe she's now also gone to Scarlet Lady because they've kind of switched up the entertainment across the fleet now. So she's now on more than one ship. The Misbehave show, I'm talking about entertainment first, sorry, but it's one of my favorite things on this ship. The Misbehave show is hysterical. It's so much fun. It's really tongue-in-cheek. It's an interactive quiz show for the whole audience, whereby the 2 cast kind of on stage will introduce a topic, and the whole audience has to compete with the rest of the room. You split into halves, basically. You've got to compete for points. But in typical Virgin style, the points mean nothing. They give it away for no reason type of thing. It's very camp, it's over the top, and it's a little bit rude, but there's a really lovely touching moment at the end of the show. So while this has all been going on, you've been scoring points and everything, but the very last kind of big moment is for everyone to stand up, and that kind of it all goes down by age. So the youngest person sits down first type of thing until they find the eldest person who's on board the ship. And I think it's powerful because it shows that Virgin Voyages attracts an older crowd as well. Like I've seen people multiple times into the 80s and 90s on board the ship sailing, beaming from ear to ear type of thing. But the key message is, in a society today whereby we prioritize youth, we prioritize beauty, said there are people in the world who have got years and years ahead of those young people who are prioritized, and they have more knowledge, more wisdom, and more grace than people who are a third of their age
Mm.
type of thing. And we should celebrate those people who are older and have that wisdom, so because they share that wisdom with the rest of us. And it's like this really lovely moment in this chaotic carnage of a show whereby, there's a downing contest to down a beer, you're singing lyrics to different songs in the whole room type of thing. They play a song and you've got to finish the song. Like, we're talking the whole audience though. So Team Sailor, Team Ahoy, they split the room in half. You're screaming the lyrics out to songs and the points are awarded to whoever's singing it the loudest and the best. Is chaos, but there's this really beautiful moment at the end of it, and I think there's a lot of shows on Virgin that I have that like chaos with a beautiful story behind it.
Yeah. Well, that sounds really good, actually.
Yeah, I love the entertainment on Virgin. I think it's really challenging in a good way. They don't do like they call it cookie cutter. They don't do the cookie cutter thing of like,
Mm.
here's people singing on a stage. There's always some spin, some sort of twist on it, always a bit of fun, a little bit cheeky, which suits my personality. Like, I'm very well behaved online, but people who know me know like my sense of humor is a little bit cheeky and a bit more playful, and Virgin caters to that brilliantly.
Oh, that's amazing. So, because Phil didn't go, did he? You went with a load of travel agents, and was that a
Yeah.
good group?
It turned out to be a good group, and you never know with these things. Like, everyone always says like, oh, you're so lucky you get to go on these trips, and I'm not saying I'm not, but you know this from press trips, you never know who else you're going to be with, and it is
Yeah.
technically a busman's holiday, so you can spend a lot of the time talking about who's got the most whatever, the most sales, the most viewers, the most whatevers. Turns into that a little bit, and then kind of people trying to work out how you're doing as well as you are. That didn't happen, and it was beautiful. We were just having a laugh, a joke the entire time. Like, it was a lovely bunch of agents. We had so much fun. So we were all still in the WhatsApp chat now, just all constantly like chatting, bringing up jokes with each other, the banter we were all having, it's just a great vibe. It was so much fun.
Oh, that's brilliant. And there's nothing better than when a trip works out like that.
Yeah.
So entertainment, is that it? Entertainment? Was there stuff going on in the day?
Yeah, so like all ships, they do. So they have their happenings cast. That's the entertainment team on board, and each one of them, I think we've talked about this in the past, type of thing. They split them up into different roles. So you have the foodie, who is kind of the person who leads all the food things, which I could talk about shot for shot if you want in a second, which is the mixology class. But they will be hosting things like that. So like the food making classes, the mixology classes, the foodie will be hosting them. They have the artist. So if you're doing any kind of painting classes, or you want to do like the art tour on board the ship, it'll be the artist who will be running things like that. They've got the bounce, I want to say. The bounce, who will be doing like all the balance. Sorry, they're called the balance. So they call it like the detox retox leader. So if you're somebody who wants to know kind of how to enjoy life and party, but also equally if you want to kind of work out and do yoga classes, or do some of like the 80s boy band workout classes, they're the person who'll be hosting and running all those classes type of things. They've got like the gamer who does the quiz shows, the Nintendo Switch sessions, all that type of stuff. So they've got different people anyway who look after that stuff. So they do lots of different pop-up events like trivia quizzes, but with a Virgin spin, art classes, all that type of stuff. So you'll find stuff you'll find on other cruise lines just done with a bit of a Virgin spin on board.
And did you do any quizzes?
No, because I'm crap at quizzes.
You know, I love a quiz. I've already got for next week all the quizzes that I want to do.
Have you?
The music ones, because they're the ones I'm good at.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I know that's very cliche for a cruise, but I do like a
No.
quiz.
I'm really, so if I'm on like mainstream cruises, I generally don't do them because they're often like 80s music, and I'm crap at 80s music, or they're movie trivia. And this comes from a like a perspective, not a culture perspective, because I'm a gay person. A lot of the stuff that I listen to or watch tends to be very queer media. And a lot of these quizzes are generally a kind of mainstream, and I hate saying that as in a judgmental way, but it's the only way I can explain it. So like a lot of the films aren't going to be films that I would have watched, or they're not going to be bands I would have listened to. So I always sit there going like, I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue. Put me in an ABBA quiz though. A Britney Spears quiz, and I'm like, nailed this.
I reckon I'd beat you at ABBA. I reckon I'd beat
Probably, yeah.
But
I tend to avoid quizzes for that reason. Like Disney, when I'm on Disney, I'm like, trivia, yes, let's do this. And I do pretty well on Disney trivia. But yeah, on most cruises, I struggle because I'm like, I don't get the reference. I don't get it. But Virgin tends to be a bit more my cup of tea. So I do the Virgin quizzes. But this time around, we didn't didn't have a lot of time, to be honest, because obviously we were on a hosted trip. So whilst we did have free time, you're obviously doing dinners together, you're doing shore things, you're doing tours and all that type of stuff. So
what else did you do? Did you do any? Because I know you like your cocktails. Did you do any pub crawls or cocktail classes?
yeah. So they do a pub crawl, actually, which I haven't done for a while, but they do a pub crawl called Grog Walk, which for anybody who is sailing with Virgin for the first time, and maybe you're sailing solo or you want to make friends, Grog Walk's a great way to meet people, because you go and do a bit of a bar crawl on board the ship. It's hosted by the Happenings cast, and you get a cocktail at each of the bars. They do include some food for you, so you go to usually Pink Agave, the Mexican restaurant, and have some kind of like nachos and salsa and things like that. So it's a really nice, like, social one. And they do give you kind of like party games to play, like icebreakers, which are cringe as hell, but they're a really good way to make friends because you're having a few drinks and you got to do silly challenges with each other. So that's a really great one. Sorry, that's one I didn't do, but that is a good one to do. But we did Shot for Shot, which is a mixology class.
Right, and what time of day did you do that?
In the afternoon, as per usual, on board cruise ships. Like, these things are always midday, aren't they, on a cruise ship?
I know, I don't get it. I mean, I was looking at, because all the itineraries coming out for next week, and it's like the top tier event, which we don't really always go to because we've got a drinks package anyway. And you used to go back in the day because it was free champagne, and I don't really care how many pinnacles there are abroad. It's it's nice for them, but I don't need to know that information.
Yeah.
But they're always at 10 in the morning. I said, Chris, that's rubbish. They must be spending too much.
And that's why they do it though, because they know people won't go and drink the free champagne.
That's it. Like, who wants champagne at 10? Well, I have a mimosa. I do have that, but that's orange. But yeah, I'm doing my laps around deck on a sea day. Then I can't be stopping and drinking cocktails. Like, that'd be dangerous. I'd drink all day. So what is the shot for shot? What do you do? Is it just cocktail mixing?
No, again, everything's got a VV spin. Like, they don't do anything normally. They just don't know how to. Wouldn't know how to if they tried. So Shot for Shot's hosted by the foodie, and in our case, we had Jake the foodie. And weirdly, the last time I did Shot for Shot, I also had Jake the foodie as well. And he's just a lovely person. I've met him a few times on board. And this is what's nice about the fact that they give them these roles, and you get to meet them as individuals rather than just like this homogenous, worthy entertainment cast. You do get to know them, and you get to pick out your favorites, which they don't want sailors doing, but it just happens over time. But Shot for Shot, happens in Test Kitchen, which is kind of the molecular gastro science kitchen on board the ship. And you get to make 4 cocktails, and they teach you, like this part isn't groundbreaking. They teach you different techniques. So how to layer, how to muddle, how to this, that, and the other. But they do it where they explain the ingredients for you. And Virgin picks premium top-shelf spirits for everything they do. So they explain kind of why they pick the spirits. You get to make 4 cocktails that are only made in Shot for Shot. You can't get them elsewhere on the ship. And you get obviously the storytelling and the personality between kind of the head mixologist and Jake the foodie. But what's unique about it and the shot for shot bit is they also then give you a photography class. So they teach you how to use your smartphone to take pictures of the cocktails you've made. Right. And then they set up props all around the test kitchen for you to then go and take pictures of your cocktails then as well while you're there. And like some of the ingredients, for example, like one of them has glitter in it. So Jake will come around and put glitter in your cocktail as you're stirring it. And then they'll say to you like, well, make sure your phone's on slow motion while I do this because you'll get all the kind of slow motion glitter floating in the air type of thing. So it's just a really fun, like, when you're making this cocktail, put it on time lapse and film yourself then. So you get some really nice, like, people like us is probably going to be lost on because we're very social media savvy. But if you've never like learned how to use autofocus or how to set the contrast on your phone when you're taking a picture, it very much teaches you things like that. But it's always a lot of fun, and you get 4 cocktails in it as well.
I'd still like that though, even though I love photography, and I love particularly food and drink photography. I'd still love that because I think there's always something new to learn.
There is a food version of it as well, which has changed names over time, and I've done that one on a previous trip as well. So Plate Snap Eat was the last name I heard of it. It was Food for the Gods for a while. So when they first launched, anyway, Virgin, all their events had really obscure names like Food for the Gods, and you're like, what the hell is this? And then they changed it to make it a bit more obvious, like Plate Snap Eat, which makes more sense. You're plating food, snapping it and eating it. So there is a food version of that as well. And there's also like a ramen, I believe, or no, sushi making class they do as well. I've never seen it on my ship, but I've seen other people do it. There's also, and what I want to do is chicken and bubbles, which is eating fried chicken with champagne, and they give you 4 different types of champagne to try with fried chicken. Like, they're my 2 favorite
Ooh.
things together
Yeah,
in one
that'd be
class, but it's
amazing.
never on. It's never on when I'm on the ship, and I don't know why. I think they just see me coming and like, oh no, we don't want it for him. They do like a Mexican bingo with tequila, which I've never been to because I can't drink tequila, but it's called I'm going to get this wrong, Gigante Loteria, and it's some popular game in Mexico anyway. But the idea is you play bingo, and every time you score something, you get a round of shots of tequila. I don't understand, or palomas. I don't understand. I've never been, but I've seen people come out of it trolleyed, absolutely trolleyed.
There's no way I could do that with tequila. It just goes straight to
Yeah, I can't. It makes me, I'm allergic to it, so I can't drink it. I kind of want to go like, can you do a rum version of it so that I can do that one?
Yeah, pina coladas. Although I have to say, I'm being careful with the pina coladas after my first. Well, I told you my first princess cruise, 2-week cruise, and I was just like, oh, pina colada.
Yeah.
Got a stone in 2 weeks.
It's all cream, isn't it? Yeah, cream
you
and
got to be
milk.
careful. Yeah, so I try to stick to the vanilla daiquiri, not vanilla daiquiris, lavender daiquiris where I can. But I do like a drinks class.
Yeah.
So anything else? What else did you do?
Well, there's 2 things related to kind of like seeing that, because a lot of people struggle to work out what events are happening and what's happening around the ship. So it's on the wall. Let me go quickly get it. I'll be back 2 seconds. So I was chatting to the cast members on board, and they've introduced something new, and I don't know when it came on board, but there's a lot of like confusion with a lot of sailors trying to navigate, find their way around the ship. So they've introduced 2 things, and there's more of these things coming. But the first one, and I'm annoyed I didn't bloody finish it, but it's called the Voyages Collection.
Oh, right, yeah.
This is such a cute idea, basically. So inside it, you've got stamps to collect from different areas on board the ship, so different venues. And they've picked venues that are often not visited by guests. So one of them is the shop, which is really easy to get to type of thing. But you've got Squid Ink, the tattoo parlor, Get Lost, which is the next voyage desk. You've got the Shore Thing desk, which is obviously port adventures or excursions. Test Kitchen, again, I don't know why people don't find these places, but like Test Kitchen, people don't go to very often. Loose Cannon is the rum bar on board, which is a bit hidden away, so that's why that's on there. Grams Club is the coffee shop, you can't miss that one type of thing. And Redemption is the spa, which again is intentionally hidden away to reduce that feeling of upsell. Like we've talked about on the Princess episode, where I was bombarded to like judged for my looks and everything.
You had wrinkles.
Yeah. So to avoid that, the spa is quite literally hidden away, but nobody goes there. So they've introduced this card basically to get people to kind of like scavenger hunt on the trip. But then equally for the Happenings cast, you've got to get a stamp per member of the Happenings cast. And my God, this is the hardest thing on the ship to do because you can only do it at certain times. There are rules. You're not allowed to do it on Scarlet Night, which is the easy way to see all of these people. You've got to go to their events and their happenings. And I got so close to do it. But then again, my ADHD, I got the day wrong when you had to hand it in. So I thought I had a whole extra day. So you've got to do it on the last sea day. So I'm speaking to the one person going like, oh yeah, I'll get your stamp. She's like, oh, I don't think you can finish it, love. I'm like, oh, I still got time. And then I went up to my cabin. I was like, oh no, it had to be finished now, not tomorrow. So I thought I had an all extra day. So I didn't finish it. But if you finish it, you get given a pin badge to collect them afterwards as well. So I think that's a nice touch.
Oh, that's then something that is good to do. Oh God, what's that?
This one's tiny. I'm trying to do it this way so you can actually see it, but because the virtual camera won't let it up. But this is a Rum Explorers card. So basically in Loose Cannon, which again is one of those venues that is hidden away a little bit. It's not that hidden, but people do miss it quite a lot. It's the rum bar on board. It's got a bit of a nautical theme to it, but they've got 5 different types of rum on there. Each time you order one, you can get your card stamped. When you get all 5, you can also get a pin badge for that as well. He says.
Oh, there you go.
So
That's
you
really
won't
cool,
see it very well.
I like that.
But it's like a nice little octopus with the Rum Explorer Club on it on a nice little card. So I got that. That I finished. That was easy for me to finish.
Obviously.
But they've started doing like collectible shot glasses as well now. So I didn't buy them on this voyage because I'm going to get them in Alaska next week. But they do like that one, Loose Cannon. There's a really cute cannon-shaped shot glass you can get, and they do like Athletic Club, which is a bar basically, but it's called the Athletic Club. They do like a punch bag with a boxing glove shot glass. So they've started to introduce things like this across the ship as well now, which I think is quite nice to have kind of themed things to buy on and upcharge, which Virgin had never done before.
And that is really good, isn't it? Because it's like Royal Caribbean when you win the quiz, you win a keyring or a pen, and it's like And I don't do it for that. I do it for winning. But like,
do it for bragging rights.
yeah, for just looking at everyone and going, "See, I told you I was going to win the Queen quiz." No, I don't win every time. I don't, and I won't win any next week now that I've said that. But I'd rather a stamp.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's a nice little memento, isn't it? I think it's cute. Definitely pin badges. I think pin badges are lovely things to have.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they've introduced this, and I hope, and this is what I was saying about, like, they've become a little bit more traditional cruise in introducing things like this, of having like stamp cards and collections and memorabilia, which is stuff that they never had, because they in their eyes, they're like, it's a bit naff. And I'm like, it is naff, but it's fun to have. It's a fun thing to have as a memento of your cruise.
People like naff.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love that. And like signage as well. Intentionally, when they first launched, it was meant to be a little bit find your own adventure, get a bit lost on it. And then they're like, no, people are getting too lost. Maybe we should tell people where things actually are. So there is a lot more signage on board the ship now this time around. Like, there are signs everywhere. They're advertising what events are happening a lot more aggressively than they ever did before. It's still not as bad as other ships. It's nowhere near like the level of the example I always use is Princess, whereby the cruise director's not on the announcement every 4 minutes telling you there's a Tanzanite session going on type of thing. But the app does do that, which was unique. They've never done that before, but the app is sending you notifications every day about the sales seminar, the Rolex seminar, which is annoying, but I know why they do it. It's because some people love that stuff and they want to know about it and they didn't know it was happening. So it's double-edged sword.
Everything, isn't it? I'm never going to go and buy anything from Effie. But on Celebrity, we got these little charms. So I collected them for my niece. Well, this time they're key rings. So I know.
Who are they?
Like little things to go on a key ring, all different. Like, I think they're chains. I don't know. It's in the app.
So I did this on Princess, didn't I? Did I ever tell you about this?
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah.
So I was adamant. I think I paid like $40 for this in the end. I was like, it wasn't a cheap memento. Too small, doesn't fit me, and I'm never going to wear it. But it was like, quite like collecting the charms. And I tried to do it on Disney because Disney's Diamonds International and you get the little charms as well. I think I managed once because Disney's strict as hell. They're like, if you're not here in the 20-minute window that we're doing it, you cannot get it. No, go away. So I don't have that for Disney, but I was tempted to. But Virgin don't do that, but they definitely have the seminars and all the
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it next week because I thought I just like doing it and like going and collecting a little thing. I know it's pathetic, but I just really like going and collecting a little thing.
It becomes so. It's either something that you're never going to do or it becomes your personality. And Phil, I was doing his head in. I was checking the schedule every day. I'm like, Phil, there's a charm in the retail store. We've got to go get the charm. I need the set. I want the completion. Like, I can't remember how this worked. I think you bought the charm and the bracelet. And you got the bracelet for free, which, okay. But I think it was like, if you bought on one day, it was like, oh, we've got 3 today if you pay an extra $5. Like, well, yes, of course I'm going to. And then it was like, you couldn't buy the last one unless you had all the other ones. And I think the last one was the Princess Medallion one. I was like, well, that's the one I want the most, was the Princess branded one. So you had to have bought all the other ones. Oh, and the Stanley Bear as well. And you get the little, he's cute. So yeah, it did become my personality on that Princess cruise.
Oh, I want to go on another Princess cruise now to get a charm bracelet. Not that I'll ever wear it, but I'll have it. We are so alike.
Novelty stuff like that, I'm so bad for. I'm like, are there things I can collect?
Next year we'll be there, Effie. Chris and Phil will be like, yeah, we'll just go for a beer.
Strolling in with our champagne. Oh, yes. I hear you got free charms.
Oh, so you did a tour as well, didn't you? Tell me about the tour.
And all right, I've never been on a bridge in my entire career ever. I was getting really moody about it, seeing other people always getting invited to go on the bridge. And I've been on 2 bridges in less than 6 months. I'm like, I don't know me anymore. I've changed. I'm a new person. So I had a bridge tour as well on board Resilient Lady. And it is always exciting. You can't deny. Like, you sit there and go, it is a room with a couple of computers in it type of thing, if you really break it down to what it is. But I think there's something really exciting to be on a bridge and kind of experience and learn a little bit more about how the ship works. Virgin have a very funny relationship with talking about being a cruise line. It's really weird. Like, whereas on Princess, the captain comes out all the time and, you know, he's out and he's dressed up and they have formal night and captain's table. You get none of that on Virgin. They don't wear... They don't wear a uniform. They don't have the stripes or anything. Literally, the captain's walking around in a Virgin Voyages t-shirt and trousers type of thing. It's very casual on board. So you don't have that same relationship with maritime tradition as you do on Virgin.
Yeah.
And they treat the bridge kind of like that as well. It's not, you can pay to do this behind the scenes tour if you wanted to, but I've never paid for it. So we got to do as part of our trip, and it was just lovely. We got to meet the officer of the watch because the captain was on rest. And yeah, we learned all about how the ship operates, how she runs, how it works. It was definitely better. I shouldn't say this out loud. Royal, I'm very grateful for the trip. It was a wonderful trip. It was better than my Royal Caribbean bridge experience, but it was just because it was more educational. She talked about how azipods work, so how they maneuver the ship, how the thrusters work. We got a lot more. So it was clear like they have a presentation around it of how what they're going to talk about and how it all works. But it was really fascinating. She talked about the chart and how the chart works, the digital chart system and how that's updated. We got to learn a lot more about kind of how the ship actually runs and operates, whereas the Royal one was lovely. It wasn't as educational, if you get me. It was very much like meet the captain on board. So the captain was there on Royal. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I think if you get the opportunity to get on a bridge, either for paying for it, it is definitely worth it because it's not something that everyone gets to do.
I've only ever done it. I've done it twice. I did it on Cunard and I did it on Oasis of the Seas. And yeah, I did really enjoy it. It is a really enjoyable experience. I mean, last year when we were on Mariner, I was going to book Joe on a galley tour because I thought he would love that. He's a chef. He was like, why would I want to do a galley tour when I'm off?
I'm on my holiday.
I read the room wrong now. So, but I thought, he'll be right. I find that really interesting anyway. Apparently not.
Yeah.
But I'd quite like to do that sip and tour brunch. I keep thinking I might do that because I'd like to see behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So just a quick overview of, I mean, obviously we've got other podcasts about Virgin. So if you search it on the podcast, there's loads. But obviously this is an up-to-date version. So thoughts on your cabin and food.
Yeah, so on this sailing, we had a sea terrace again. So I'm a sea terrace queen. I love sleeping in a sea terrace. I think they're great. There's nothing new about it. Nothing's changed on them. So you still obviously have that iconic hammock on board. You have the sea bed, they call it, which is their kind of transformational bed that can technically become a sofa during the daytime. They just don't really tell people that that's possible anymore. So it's only really OG fans who will know that that's possible, to be honest. They now leave it in a bed configuration now. It's still the great, smart room where you can control the whole room from the tablet. So you control your TV, your lights, your blinds and everything. Like I've grown to love my cabins on board Virgin Voyages. I think it's the best bed I sleep in outside of Disney. Like I generally love sleeping on a Virgin Voyages ship.
I just like sleeping on a ship. I just can't wait.
I know.
Can't wait just to that gentle rocking. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, we had a few choppy days because where we had this medical emergency and the ship had to turn around. I've never been on board Virgin Voyages where they've hit full speed and we were going full speed. Not because we needed to, for the captain just said, like, we were chatting to the bridge officer when we did our bridge tour and she said, like, we didn't need to go at that speed. She said, but we just wanted to get back. She said, we were actually there early. The reason why the medevac couldn't come is because we had to wait for daylight so they could see the ship in the sea, basically. She said, but we were there well ahead of time, so we didn't need to go the speed we were going. We were actually going as fast as we were because the wind was picking the ship up, speeding the ship up. They weren't actually at full speed, but that was the most choppy. And I didn't think it was too bad, but other people in the group, complain's the wrong word, but they mentioned it. But it was definitely like rocking a little bit. But I love that. I love that. It's like there's a degree how much I like too much listing, and I get a bit like, okay, stop now. But a little bit of gentle side by side. I'm like, I'm on a ship now.
Yeah, I want to go a bit like that. I just love it. So, what about the food? Was it as expected to the standard you've always enjoyed, or has there been any changes?
There's been changes. Some of them for the worse, but I don't think like in a dramatic way. It's not like the food's gone downhill. They've just made the menus a bit simpler or smaller portion sizes, which is a shame if you've been on board before and you're used to things. Prime example, Test Kitchen used to be 6 courses. It's now 5 courses and the portion sizes are considerably smaller. I have aggressively given feedback before about Test Kitchen. It just goes on for too long. It's like a 3-hour meal. It doesn't need to be that long. And a part of that is just the portions. There's too many courses and they're too big. So that has changed, which is by the by type of thing. It's not a negative. There are reasons why it changed, but that has changed now. The menu in Extra Virgin, the Italian, has changed completely. I don't think I recognized a single course. And annoyingly, what they've got rid of were all my favorites. So like the calamari, the gazpacho, not the gazpacho. Yeah, the gazpacho, the potato gnocchi, like all the things that I always have are the things that have gone off the menu. And I think a lot of it is budget cuts. Obviously, cost of living is going up, food's costing more. But I also think as well, probably people were not ordering that stuff. So it's probably why it's gone. So I was a bit disappointed that my favorite had gone anyway. I felt personally victimized by extra like my face when I read the menu. I was literally like, what have you
You're
done?
like, this is
Where's my
outrageous.
favorite? I was like, Kieran, it's not about you. It's not about you. Take a step back. And Gumbay as well, the Korean barbecue restaurant. The core concept is the same. You still have the barbecue in front of you where they grill the meat, the veg, and everything. It's more the side plates and the starters are pretty much all changed as well. They've just kept the fried chicken, which is, oh my God, the best chicken I've ever had anywhere at sea. Like, I could just go there and just eat fried chicken. But they've got rid of some items. And again, I get why. They were things people probably didn't know or like. Pancakes have changed. I can't remember everything on that menu. But what they have added on, and I get why, is they've added tteokbokki on, which has gone viral on TikTok, basically, about Korean food. So tteokbokki is like rice. How do you explain them? They're rice cakes, technically, but they're like noodles. Like dumplings, sorry, rice dumplings, and they come in this rich, spicy sauce. I think is a net positive change because they're stunning and they rival the chicken for flavor. So I'm actually happy they've added tteokbokki onto the menu, but some other items have gone and some of the cocktails have been kind of pared back a little bit. They're not as out there as they were before. I don't think any of these changes are like it's ruined the experience, but it definitely feels safer than it was before. Whereas a lot of the food was like really kind of not experimental, but it was a bit more kind of elevated, as in, oh, I've not quite seen it. Oh, what is that? I don't actually know what that is. Or, oh, that's don't see that very often. The menus are a bit more kind of mainstream now on the whole. There's still the occasional, ooh, I don't know what that is, but they're not as challenging as they were before. Basically, the menus, they've kind of brought them a bit more tamer for the still very virgin, definitely still very virgin, just not as quirky as they were.
I suppose so as well. I mean, and this is like with everything, like with me with my craft blog, you do the same, and that's what people want. But you
Yeah.
feel like because you're doing the same, people get bored of it, but they won't
Yeah.
because that's why they come back. People love it and people like the same, but then you get bored as a creator
Yeah.
of creating the same. So it's getting that balance.
And that's why I don't know what the choice is. Nobody's ever come to me and said we've done it for budget reasons or we've done it for
No.
feedback reasons. And Virgin do this anyway every 6 months, and I can tell you when they're going to happen. Every 6 months, the menus get tweaked, and it's usually the start of the summer season, the end of the summer season. So when the ships do the transatlantics, the menus will get changed, and it's usually when they change regions is when it's going to get done. So this has happened over time anyway. They've certain courses go, certain courses get added, but this was the most dramatic change since I've been sailing with Virgin anyway, across the board. I'm convinced this month menus are going to change again and there's going to be new changes again. On one hand, that keeps it exciting, but I do feel like it's a step towards them becoming a little bit more kind of mainstream. And I don't say that with any snobbery. I think it's the right decision for Virgin Voyages growth. And I did feel like, as an observation, the demographic on board was definitely a lot broader. It was a lot more kind of more seasoned cruisers, mature sailors. It wasn't kind of the young at heart vibe that Virgin had a reputation for when they first launched. It definitely felt more like a traditional cruise crowd, when I think that's a good thing, actually, because it meant people spread out more as well. The ship had much more variation in spaces of what was going on, whereas in the early days, the nightclub was ram all the time because it was very much that kind of party, young at heart crowd, whereas now there are people who go to bed and watching a film or maybe sitting in the lounge and having a few cocktails type of thing. So I think it's for the better that they've actually kind of spread their guest list a bit more.
Yeah, because they definitely alienated a lot of, because I had no desire to go on. And still I'm not there yet, but I'm curious. But yeah, they definitely alienated a lot of people because they were like, everything that forget because that's rubbish. Basically, that's
Pretty much.
And everyone was like, whoa, this is what we like. So I get it. But like you say, but then they're finding their own identities. It's like a child growing up, I suppose, isn't it?
Pretty much, and they've been quite honest. Like, obviously, I speak to a lot of the senior leadership team where I get to go on like web calls with them on various trainings we do, and they've been quite honest. And they've said like this year is a transformational year for Virgin Voyages. They didn't know what they were selling at first, and they said like we learned how to sell it at the same time as you did, as speaking to us as travel agents. They were like, you taught us how to sell Virgin Voyages because you were the ones who were experiencing the product and then explaining it to people. And then also we've had to adapt and change to make sure that we were filling the ship and, targeting the people who will actually pay to come on board us. So it's definitely changed. It's still Virgin Voyages. It's still tongue in cheek. It's still sexy. It's still fun, but it definitely feels more like other cruise lines than it ever has before, just done in a Virgin Voyages way, if you get me. So it's not as challenging. I use the word challenging quite a lot in the early days. I don't think it's challenging anymore. It definitely feels more like a cruise, but it now feels like a cruise. It sounds like I'm saying the same thing, but it sounds like a cruise, but done the Virgin Voyages way. in a truer, more traditional, closer to other cruise lines way, which some people would go, that's a bad thing. I actually think is a great thing because it feels more like a cruise now, whereas before it was like a boutique hotel that floated, which was cool. It was sexy. It was trendy. It just had a niche catchment. And I think it's actually better now that they're spreading it out a little bit more. The entertainment is not quite as bonkers. It's a little bit more mainstream, but done with a playful twist rather than kind of like pushing boundaries all the time. They don't need to push boundaries with everything they do. They just need to push boundaries sometimes.
Have you got any content that you want to share with people? Have you wrote the trip up yet? Or have you got any YouTube videos?
Not specifically for this trip, just because I haven't had time, to be honest. I've literally come off this trip and I'm going straight back onto another trip. So this trip's probably not going to get too much of a write-up, but I have tons of content about Virgin Voyages on my website. Like I have dining guides, cabin guides, booking guides, tips for packing. Like if there's something you need to learn about Virgin Voyages, it's probably on my website. So definitely just literally go on the website and search Virgin Voyages in the search bar. It has a dedicated tab. That's how much I do Virgin Voyages content. What I may do is I'll link below into this, if that's okay, the ultimate guide to Virgin Voyages, which is my kind of landing page for all my content about Virgin Voyages. That's probably going to be a good place to start because that's where I link all the headline topics, at least anyway.
Right, amazing. Brilliant.
Fab. Okay, well, guys, if you ever are interested in learning more about Virgin Voyages or sailing with them, I would love to help you. We always have bonus offers on boards with Virgin Voyages because I have headline product that we sell. You can find me online everywhere under magical-traveler.com, or you can find me under magical TRVLR. That's where I'll be sharing my trip reports from our time in Alaska as well. But other than that, Sarah, I know you've got lots of cruise guides and tips as well. Where can the guys find that?
Yeah, we've no Virgin. Oh, we've got your amazing food guide actually. But I have got lots of cruise ports. If you're sailing Virgin, they are very useful. So I'll put the link to those below.
Fab. Other than that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.
Bye.